As far as food poisoning is concerned, you may have some experience, especially if you are living in a hostel, or you may have frequent experience of what do you mean by food poisoning. Nobody need to tell you what are the situations that can lead to food poisoning. Especially those people who are staying away from the home have a frequent experience of food poisoning, especially if you are taking outside food, whether it is hostel food or hospital food or hotel food, any kind of food, especially if you have the habit of taking street food, then also you can have this sort of experience of food poisoning. So, foodborne illness or food poisoning is the result of eating contaminated food or spoiled food or toxic food. Contaminated means contaminated by the presence of bacteria. So what are the situations that lead to the presence of entry of bacteria? When food is not properly preserved, then the bacteria may enter it. So that is one condition that leads to food poisoning. Sometimes food may be spoiled, then also bacteria may be present. So these are the situations that normally leads to food poisoning. And normally if you have any experience of food poisoning, you know, most of the time it may result in some kind of diarrhea. There will be stomach pain, and that will be followed by very acute form of diarrhea. That is the most common type of symptom that will be occurring in case of food poisoning. So these are the common symptoms. Nausea will be there. Some people will be experiencing vomiting, and there will be diarrhea also. Diarrhea means loose motion. These are the three common symptoms of food poisoning. Now, in addition to that, abdominal cramps, especially if there is some bacterial infection of your abdomen, that can lead to abdominal muscle contraction. That is known as abdominal cramps. Diarrhea, vomiting will be there, and you may feel the stomach is always full because of the presence of gas in your stomach. There can be mild fever. Any bacterial infection may result in production of increase of body temperature, which we call as a fever. Then weakness, nausea, headache all follow. So these are the common symptoms of food poisoning. Then what are the reasons or what are the causes of food poisoning? Most of the time it is caused by some kind of presence of some microorganism. Most commonly it can be a bacteria or a parasites or a virus. And by far the most common type of bacteria that leads to food poisoning is E. coli or Escherichia coli. Then Listeria is another bacteria, and Salmonella. Especially as far as Salmonella is concerned, that is the most important bacteria that normally leads to food poisoning. So Salmonella, not only in United States, in all over the world, Salmonella is a common cause of food poisoning. Some other bacteria which are responsible for food poisoning are Campylobacter and Campylobacter botulinum, and this is causing a very acute, very dangerous form of food poisoning because this bacteria produce a toxic, highly dangerous poison, and that can cause instant death. That is known as a botulism. So and that are commonly present in bottled food. That is why botulism, the name botulism is given. So the bacteria is botulinum, and these are two lethal. Lethal means causing death. Lethal bacteria that can lurk. Lurk means hide in your food. So as far as bacteria are concerned, some E. coli can be a cause of food poisoning, but usually most of the food poisoning are the result of presence of Salmonella bacteria in the food. Then Campylobacter is also an important type of bacteria that can lead to food poisoning. And second type of microorganism that can lead to food poisoning here are parasites. Food poisoning caused by parasites like toxoplasmosis. The parasite is a parasite present in food substance. Then it is typically found in cat litter boxes. So these are some of the important bacteria. Toxoplasmosis is the bacteria that is leading to food poisoning among the category of parasites. Then as far as virus are concerned, then Norwalk virus or norovirus, that causes over 90 million cases of food poisoning each year. So this is one important virus that is responsible for food poisoning. Then it can also lead to fatal. Fatal means leading to death. In lethal, fatal all means causing death. That is the meaning of the word fatal. Then another type of virus like sapovirus, rotavirus, astrovirus, all will be causing this food poisoning. But mostly the norovirus is an important type of virus and most common source of food poisoning. Then another type of virus is hepatitis A virus. And it is also causing a serious condition and that is also transmitted through food. So these are the different type of viruses which are responsible for the occurrence of food poisoning. So you can see that both bacteria, virus and parasites are all responsible. So this is how so what we can do to avoid food poisoning is basically food poisoning maybe here you will get some idea because I think I have not included that. We find out. So these are the important rules of that we have to keep. One thing is here it is very clearly shown here what you can do to avoid food poisoning, because as far as food poisoning are concerned, the best step that you can do is that follow these three procedure. One is wash your hands. That's a one very important thing as far as food poisoning are concerned, because a simple hand wash, even if you are not washing with a soap or a detergent, still that will be removing a lot of bacteria. So before taking the food, always wash the food. Then separate the food. For example, the non-vegetarian item and vegetarian item. Even if you are storing it in a fridge or something, it should be keeping it in separate container. Some people may not. This fridge hygiene is an important thing. Simply putting all the foodstuffs into the fridge is not a good way of. If it is a fish or if it is a meat, all items should be separately placed inside the fridge. And fridge also needs to be cleaned occasionally. Otherwise, certain low temperature bacteria can easily survive in fridge also. Then one other thing is that always cook the food properly. The right temperature. Sometimes, if you during the summer season, you might have noticed that the food that you have prepared in the morning, if you are not heating it after around 12 o'clock, the food that curry may get spoiled. Because of high temperature, the bacteria may be surviving. So even if you are preparing the food in the morning and you are not heating the food after 3 or 4 hours, especially during the lunch time, if you fail to do that, most of the time you might have noticed that your mother may be saying that the food that I have prepared is now spoiled. This is because the bacteria will be growing or multiplying faster in a temperature during the summer season. So increasing environmental temperature will be leading to better, faster bacterial contamination. So one way by which mothers are usually preventing this is they will be heating the food. So if you are heating the food, after some time the bacteria that might have entered may die. So that a simple home remedy like this can save cook the food, then chill the proper. Here you can see that how they have placed the. So this is not the way most of the people in Kerala are keeping food items inside the refrigerator. So if it is food item, always place in separate containers so that everything will stay. Even if one food item is damaged, that will not contaminate other food items. So these are some of the important things that you can see here. You can do not cross contaminate. Then some other things also you can also keep in your, see here also you can refrigerate promptly. Prompt refrigeration. If you want to put something in the fridge One important rule is that place the food item immediately inside the fridge. Do not keep the food items open for some time. For maybe 2 3 hours, you are keeping it keep outside the fridge. Then after some time, 3 or 4 hours, you are keep it, taking it to the fridge. That may not be a very effective way of refrigeration. What happens is that lot of bacteria might have already entered the food that may be contaminating the food. So what you can do is that if you want to refrigerate a particular food, keep it closed, and after immediately after the temperature is down, you have to keep it into the fridge. That way you can reduce the entry of bacterial in the food. So these are some of the important things which you can do to prevent the food from getting spoiled. So this and other things that you have on and do not take food from street, because one problem with the street food is that they are kept open and lot of dust will be there, and most of the time you might have noticed they do not have any system to properly cover their food. So even if they are preparing the food in a good way, because of the entry of this dust particle from the road, their food may contain lot of bacteria. That is why this shawarma, eating shawarma, many people are dying, because shawarma, the chicken is kept in a stick for a long time, and there will be bacteria will be developing in that, and in addition to a lot of special flavors are added to the shawarma to increase their taste. They are also responsible for bacterial multiplication. That is why shawarma is a leading cause of food poisoning in Kerala. So these are some of the methods by which you can reduce the chance of food poisoning.